Welcome to another episode of the Jampack Report, today for December the 31st of 2020, the final show of the year. Of course, this is a daily gaming news podcast meant to bring you the hottest news you need to know from around the industry. Hosted on YouTube and podcast services around the world 5 days a week, it's your one-stop shop for everything you need to know. So if you enjoy the show and you like what you see, hit that subscribe button and keep coming back for more. But I did want to say, if you are watching this, you are just hours away from an entirely new year filled with new opportunities, new possibilities. What I'm trying to say is, if you're watching this, you made it through 2020. You finished it. That, my friends, is something that is absolutely worth celebrating, so congratulations. With that being said, we have some news to dive into to round off the year very strong, because Devolver Digital is teasing 5 unannounced games for next year. The unannounced titles will join the likes of Loop Hero, Shadow Warrior 3, Olija, Card Shark, Weird West, and Boomerang X, which are due for release in 2021. Devolver Digital's next year is already starting to look very stacked. Alongside a host of previously announced titles, the esteemed indie publisher is now teasing a further 5 new unannounced games for next year. In a typically Devolver tweet, the company said, quote, "Which of the 5 unannounced Devolver Digital games releasing next year is your most anticipated?" See, it's funny, because no one knows what they are. While there is no indication as to what these 5 unannounced titles could be, there is a possibility that one of them could be the game from developer Beans, the studio created by former Ubisoft developers Gabriela Salvatore and Dean Evans. It was revealed that Devolver will be publishing the studio's first title, however, 2021 could prove to be too soon for it. Alongside these 5 new games, Devolver Digital already has a minimum of 6 titles in the pipeline for next year. During the Devolver Digital 2021 Game of the Year Award at the Game Awards, the publishers announced Loop Hero, a deck-building roguelike due for a PC release in 2021. Loop Hero joins the likes of Shadow Warrior 3, Olija, Card Shark, Weird West, and Boomerang X, which are all scheduled for a release at some point within the next 12 months. Devolver will be looking to build on the success that it had this year. The publisher had a range of big-hitting titles release in 2020, including Carrion, Disc Room, and most notably Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout. Fall Guys was one of this year's runaway successes. The game became the most downloaded free PlayStation Plus title of all time, sold more than 11 million units on PC, and raised a whopping $1 million for charity. Devolver Digital continues to do something that no one else can really do in the gaming industry. They make very unique games come to life, and they do it while also injecting an incredible amount of personality into their brand and how they are marketing these games. Devolver is just a fun company, and I've always loved it, always will love Devolver. And on top of that, I'm excited to see what they come out with, because they create unique projects. They don't really create things that are cookie cutter, and that's what makes them special. Again, Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout, basically a Jelly Bean obstacle course game. Who would have thought that would be a thing? And that's the kind of stuff to expect from Devolver. Now, when it comes to each game being a runaway success like Fall Guys, that's not a fair assumption to have. That's not a fair price to hit. In other words, it's just not fair to expect that kind of success from every game that they put out, but they do put out some very, very impressive games. Now, personally, out of everything that has been announced so far, obviously, I'm looking forward to Shadow Warrior 3. Very, very fun game, and I say that based off of Shadow Warrior and Shadow Warrior 2. But looking forward to seeing what 3 has to offer. Looks like it's more of that absolutely gory, slaying, fun-filled action that we all know and love. But Devolver has a lot on the way. Koei Tecmo does too, but I'll tell you what should be on the way: 2-factor authentication, because Koei Tecmo has shut down forums following a data hack. The Japanese publisher Koei Tecmo announced over the Christmas holiday that some personal data from 65,000 users of its English language website was hacked, leading to the company to take its US and UK websites offline for the time being. Quote, "Within the website operated by KTE, the forum page, and the registered user information, approximately 65,000 entries has been determined to the data that may have been breached," Koei Tecmo announced in a press release on December the 25th, as reported on by Bleeping Computer. The user data that may have been leaked through this hacking is perceived to be the optional account names and related password, encrypted and/or registered email addresses. The publisher, which is responsible for the Dynasty Warriors series, including several Mosu spin-off games, and the recent Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, wrote that the hack appeared to be isolated to its forum pages and did not contain any credit card information. Koei Tecmo added that it does not know who launched the cyber attack yet, and that it believes the likelihood of the leaks being related to a ransomware attack is low. In addition to reporting the data breach to the EU's General Data Protection Regulation, the publisher has also temporarily shut down the US and UK websites. Due to the possibility of an external cyber attack on this website, it is temporarily closed as we investigate the issue, reads a single line of text that appears when you try to visit the Koei Tecmo America website. Unlike the recent extensive cyber attack on Capcom in November, which affected corporate information like sales reports and development documents, this data breach appears to be isolated to player emails and passwords. Koei Tecmo apologizes for the concern and inconvenience this may be causing to its customers and business partners, the publisher wrote in its press release. For individuals who have had their email addresses leaked, Koei Tecmo is determined to take the appropriate measures to act in good faith hereafter. Koei Tecmo did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Huge bummer whenever any kind of data is leaked. Now, I do want to say it doesn't seem like this is something that is going to be deeply impacting somebody, but if your account gets potentially yoinked, that's data out there. That's your data that is floating out in the ether, filled with a whole bunch of cyber criminals. That's how the internet works, right? But I do want to say that hopefully everything gets ironed out, and it's a huge pain whenever these attacks happen because I think about the IT guy, the web developer guy on the back end that is having to deal with this and that is having to spend his new year trying to beef up security on a website. It would be a much nicer place if the world just, let things be instead of trying to maneuver their way into places that they shouldn't and gather personal information. Huge bummer, but ultimately, I did want to let you guys know that if you are on these forums, you might want to change your passwords if you use the same one on multiple accounts. Who would do that? I don't know. That's just something I've heard. But with that being said, one account you don't have to worry about, at least right now, is your PlayStation Plus, because January selection is starting the year off right with Greedfall, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and Maneater on PS5. As disappointing as it was to see Sony stop giving out PS3 and Vita games as PlayStation Plus perks last year, I have to say, the author says, I'm liking the recent 2 PS4 games and a PS5 bonus push. It helps a lot. The January 2021 PlayStation Plus lineup follows that format again with Shadow of the Tomb Raider, the third title in Square Enix's modern Lara Croft trilogy, Greedfall, a flawed RPG gem from Spiders, and the PS5 version of Maneater, a silly fish, gator, and human chomping action game. You'll be able to redeem these games on the PlayStation Store beginning Tuesday, January the 5th. Maneater is also available on PS4. There's even a free PS5 upgrade for owners, but this particular PlayStation Plus giveaway only covers the PS5 copy, so that's all you can play. No funny business. Did you buy any of these in a sale? It always happens to someone. But indeed, there is your PlayStation Plus lineup for the month of January. Again, Greedfall, a pretty chunky RPG that has some issues here and there. Shadow of the Tomb Raider, a very good Lara Croft game, if I do say so myself. And Maneater on the PlayStation 5, a very fun, lighthearted, shark-chomping game. Essentially, you grow from a pup into this giant man-eating Goliath of a beast, and you just go to town. So if you do want to dive into any of those, by all means, you can check those out on your platform of choice. And of course, the Xbox Live games with gold have already been announced for the year. We talked about that a couple of days ago, but a couple of good gems over in that lineup as well, including the original Dead Rising. So if you do want to check that out, you can as well. But ultimately, good looking month ahead, and I'm excited to have a new year filled with new opportunities, new possibilities, and new episodes of the Jampack Report for you. But if you enjoyed this entire year's worth of shows, I do hope you hit that subscribe button, and if you were already subbed, thank you so much for the support throughout 2020. In a year unlike any other, it has been so nice to have a hobby that I can go to every single morning, and to have something that I can do, to have a podcast that reaches people, to have something that I can use to put enjoyment out into the world. That's what this podcast is for me, and I appreciate the support, I appreciate the listenership, I appreciate the growth, the support. 2020 was bad in a lot of different ways, but for the Jampack Report, it's been pretty great, so I thank you for that. But until next year, you guys have a fantastic new year. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I will talk to you soon. Peace.